Hello and welcome to Module 3. In the previous module, we have spent time getting to know CEFR. Do you remember what CEFR stands for? Very good if your answer is Common European Framework Reference. In this video, we're going to talk about global scales of the CFR, self-assessment grid, and illustrative scales. After this module, teachers are able to understand CEFR global scales, self-assessment grids, and can-do statements. They can basically identify different levels of the CEFR and use the assessment grid and can-do statements to assess their own and their students' level. You can find a lot of documents about descriptions of CEFR levels. As you may see on the slide, the most general one is the global scale. The self-assessment grid gives us more detailed information about each of the language skills. The most detailed one are the illustrative scales, which describes specifications of objectives or for each level. We're going to talk about the global scale in this video. The most general one, the global scale, is a chart of language levels that highlight observable language behaviors in social or academic contexts. It means the learner will do something. The statements will describe proficiency according to learners' performance within real-world contexts. The CEFR has three broad bands, A, B, and C, and calls them basic, independent, and proficient. You can see these as similar to beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Each of those bands is divided into two, giving us 6 main levels. However, C1 and C2 are normally seen as too high, even for native speakers, so this module only focuses on the other levels from A1 to B2. Here are some general descriptions of each level. Learners at A1 level need a lot of help when they're communicating in English, and their English is very basic. A2 learners can communicate in limited range of contexts. That means very familiar topics that are of their interest. Learners at B1 are very confident in communication in familiar contexts, for example, talking about their school, their teachers, and so on. B2 learners can use English effectively with some fluency, and the lack of fluency does not cause any problem for them and the other speakers. Learners at C1 level can use English fluently and flexibly in a wide range of contexts. It means they have no difficulty expressing themselves fluently and in many different contexts with various topics. It is important to note that in the context of non-native speakers, it is very challenging to achieve C1 level. As you can possibly notice from the previous lines about general descriptions of each CEFR level, there are corresponding Cambridge exams. So what are the differences between the two global scales? Please watch the video and answer the questions. What are the main differences between the CEFR global scale and the Cambridge global scale? Which one seems better in comparing different learners of the same level? You should note down your ideas on a piece of paper. The video will now be paused for 10 seconds for you to get ready. Remember, you can watch the video as many times as you want to make sure you fully understand the contents, okay? Here we go.
The Cambridge English Scale is the new and enhanced way we will be reporting results for some of our exams from 2015. It builds on the way we currently report results and is based on many years of research. It will provide simpler, clearer, and more detailed results. What is the Cambridge English Scale? The Cambridge English Scale is a range of scores used to report results for Cambridge English exams. You may be familiar with the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, or CEFR. It is the international standard for describing ability in languages. and is a broad reference scale of language proficiency. The Cambridge English Scale is designed to complement the CEFR. The difference is that the scale gives a more detailed result than the CEFR alone. See how both of these candidates are at level B2, but their scores on the scale show that one has a higher level of English than the other. Results for almost all Cambridge English exams will be reported on the Cambridge English Scale, starting with Cambridge English First, including First for Schools, Cambridge English Advanced, and Cambridge English Proficiency. IELTS is mapped to, but will not be reported on the Cambridge English Scale. Our exams are focused on different levels of the CEFR, and they are mapped to particular points on the scale. No matter which exam is taken, the same level of ability is represented by the same score. So, a candidate who scores 185, taking Cambridge English First, would be expected to achieve 185 in Cambridge English Advanced. This will make results easier to understand. It will also be clear to see how a learner progresses through our exams. How does it work? Scores on the Cambridge English Scale replace the standardised score and the candidate profile. Candidates receive an overall score on the Cambridge English Scale, which determines the grade and CEFR level they obtain. Candidates also receive scores for each language skill they are tested on: reading, writing, speaking and listening, and use of English. Looking at the new statement of results, you can see what the candidate has achieved in each of the different skills, and how their performance in one skill compares to performance in another. These detailed results make it simple to describe the level of language skills needed for university admission or employment. Candidates and teachers also benefit from having better information about performance, making it easier to identify areas for improvement. Want to know more? The Cambridge English Scale is based on our extensive research and has been developed in response to feedback from users of our exams. To find out more, go to cambridgeenglish.org/Cambridge English Scale.
As you can see, after learning the previous module about the CFR, the CFR is quite short, but it's quite challenging for non-expert users, and there should be more detailed guidelines how to use the scales properly for teaching and assessment. Especially, there may be some new terminologies that need more explanations. In the video you have watched, it shows us clearly that the Cambridge English Scale is much simpler, clearer and more detailed, while the CFR Global Scale only gives broad references for each level. So when referred to the result reports from the CFR, it is very hard to compare learners of the same level and identify rooms for improvement for each of the skills: listening, speaking, reading and writing. Anyway, it is still a very useful tool in teaching and assessment. Now we are going to work with a detailed description of each level. Let's start with the lowest one, A1. Let's spend time reading the keywords and phrases on the slide. You've got 20 seconds to do this. At this level, some keywords are familiar, personal details, and simple. That means at the end of this level, you will be able to talk about yourself and your immediate environment. For example, introduce yourself, your name, your age, where you're from, your address, and so on. You can ask simple questions about yourself, fill out a simple form, write a postcard, etc. At this level, you discover the language, the sounds, and even learn some simple phrases. So to sum up, A1 students can use English as long as the topics are familiar, of their personal interest, and the language is very simple. Here are the descriptions of A2 level. Now read the descriptors for 20 seconds, please. At A2 level, you can talk about the things around you and talk about your past, your present, and future. For example, you can describe your family, the job, and hobby. You can order food, you can go shopping, use public transport, describe animals, people, and everyday objects. And you can also talk about events in a short and simple way. Imagine a student living in an English-speaking country. If they reach this level, they can eat without problems, they can stay, move, and even have some simple exchanges with native speakers. Now what about the third level? The video will now be paused for 20 seconds for you to read. Well, as you can see, at B1 level, you can maintain a discussion on specific topics, express personal opinions on a film, a book or article, something from newspaper or TV program. You can explain a project or idea, an event or a dream, and express your feelings. If you have acquired this level, you can have ongoing conversation and give your opinion. Well, if you advance to B2 level, what can you do generally? Based on what you can see on the slide, it is clear that you can watch movies in English, read the newspaper, defend your opinions, write a report, build a logical argument, and make a presentation. After all the effort, you're finally comfortable with the language. You understand the conversation and attend a conference and take part in a meeting. A conversation with native speakers is no problem, and you express yourself with ease, naturally and effectively. Let's move on to the next level, C1. Please read the descriptors for 20 seconds. At C1 level, you can understand complex text, summarize documents, conduct a meeting, give a clear speech without hesitation, use many idioms and expressions, appreciate distinction and style, read literature, and have fun. You're perfectly at ease with the language. You understand the subtle and even manage with regional accent. And most importantly, you can easily work in this language. The detailed descriptors for each of the skills at each level will be discussed in the next modules. Don't worry about that. Now, we're going to do a quiz to check your understanding of the CEFR global scale. In the first exercise, you read certain statements quoted from the global scales of levels A1 to C1. Without referring to the materials, please identify which level each statement refers to. You should note down all your answers on a piece of paper. You now have 1 minute to do this exercise. Well, we also have some other statements from H to Q. Please spend another 1 minute doing this before we check all the answers. 1 minute starts. If you should need more time, feel free to pause the video longer if you want. I hope you have got the correct answers. Here are the correct descriptions for level A1. These 3 statements are for A2 level. B1 level descriptors are shown on the slide. B2 level descriptors are shown on the slide. And the last 3 statements on the slide are for C1 level. Now, are you ready for the next exercise? In this exercise, you're going to read the descriptors on the slide and identify the corresponding level of all of them. All the statements are from one level only. You've now got 30 seconds to do this. Well, the correct answer is level B2. You can see some keywords and phrases like complex text, concrete and abstract topics, fluency and spontaneity, without strain, clear detailed text, explain a viewpoint. Now the next set of 3 statements. Again, you read the statements and identify the level. 30 seconds for you. Well, can you see the phrases like familiar, basic phrases, personal details, simple way, slowly and clearly? So, the answer must be level A1. Now, it is the last set. Which level do all these statements refer to? The video will now be paused for 30 seconds for you to think. Well, what is your answer? If it is C1, you've got it right. The keywords are a wide range, demanding, implicit meaning, fluently, spontaneously, flexibly, effectively, complex, and so on. This is the last exercise for you. You're supposed to find one incorrect descriptor, A, B, C, or D, that does not describe level B1. 30 seconds for you. Start now. Well, the answer is A, which describes A2 level. For B1 level, it should be understand the main points of clear standard input on familiar matters regularly encountered in work, school, or leisure, and so on. Now, which descriptor, A, B, or C, does not describe level A2? 30 seconds for you to give your answer. The answer is definitely C. Statement C is for B2 level. Learners at A2 level only can describe in simple terms aspects of their background, immediate environment, and matters in areas of immediate need. Well, so far in this video, we have spent time getting to know the CEFR global scale as well as understanding the descriptors of each level from A1 to C1. I hope after watching this video, you are much clearer about the global scales and you are able to basically distinguish between each level. See you in the next videos. Thank you and goodbye.